All right, what's up, guys?
Oh. Did not start this off well.
Hey, real quick, I thought about doing
Jaime, we're recording right now.
I thought about doing this at one point.
You
ready? You ready for this?
Yeah. Welcome to episode 3 of the Disciple Me Now podcast.
What's
Crazy.
up, everybody?
We do this 3 weeks already.
Crazy.
I hope that you have been enjoying the content. Jackson Sandifer here.
Nathan Ritchie.
And then behind the camera, as always,
Jaime Sanchez.
He makes the magic happen. So thank you so much for those of you who have been listening. If you have been enjoying the content, man, share it, tell people about it. And we are just trying to help other leaders disciple people well. So we have a really awesome and fun and very practical episode today. We're titling it Starting Well. All right. So
yeah, I
Nathan,
got a story for you guys about starting well.
I love stories.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to take you back to young Nathan in
Okay.
college.
Okay.
Now, I was a young Bible major, but in effort to be able to have other skills, I
Okay.
decided to add a teaching minor.
That sounds like you.
Yeah.
You're a good teacher.
Well, thank you.
So
Now, one of my first classes in my teaching minor.
you must have paid attention to these classes because you're
Okay.
good at teaching. Go
Oh,
ahead.
well,
Go.
thank you. Sounds like you already know the story. Well, okay. I showed up to this class. First day of the class, I was motivated. I was locked in. I wanted to do well in this teaching minor because I wanted to be able to actually be able to teach students well, right?
yeah,
I wanted
yeah.
to be able to take advantage of this. My girlfriend at the time, now wife,
Come on.
my
Come on.
girlfriend, she was a teaching major. And so
Ooh.
I was like, wanted to be top of the top at this, right? Impress her.
Okay.
Show up to this class, sit in the very front row, right in front of the teacher, as close as I am to you,
Like 2 feet.
2 feet away.
2 feet.
I was locked in,
You were ready to go. You
ready
had
to
your,
kill it.
You had your
Got my notes right in front of me,
Your,
blank pieces of paper ready to take notes.
clear sheet protectors
Yup.
in your binder.
Got my pencil protector.
Come on.
Now, this teacher, mind you, this teacher was, she's probably getting close to retirement. I don't know if she's retired now. She's pretty old.
Oh my God.
Her
Hopefully.
voice was, let's just call it boring. First day of the class, she's going over the syllabus.
Ugh.
Okay?
Syllabus
Not the
day.
most exciting thing. Now, just at the point where she's talking about how she hates students falling asleep in class, I'm 2 feet away from her, and I literally can't keep my head up. Just
You're falling asleep.
my head's dropping. I'm falling asleep. She's literally talking about how that's the one thing that she hates students doing is falling asleep, and I can't stay awake right in front of her.
First day of class.
First day of class. I'm like, oh, this is not starting off well.
So what you're saying is you didn't start off
No,
well
not at all.
Did you pass?
I passed,
Okay.
but only with the help of my girlfriend.
She did your homework.
She
for
didn't
you.
do my homework, but she is an excellent teacher, and I definitely relied on her to
So
learn because
number
that teacher did not teach
One
me.
rule of starting well: get an awesome
Oh
girlfriend.
gosh,
Right?
I
No?
guess so. I
Okay.
guess so.
Hey, man, we want to talk about starting off discipleship well, unlike Nathan did with his class,
Uh-oh.
but not, we always hear it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But I think you'd agree, I think all of our listeners would agree that how you start will help you to finish well
It
also.
lays
right?
the foundation.
Yeah. So how do we start well? Because in our context, man, we have a lot of leaders who maybe are discipling students for the first time
Yeah.
or the first time in a long time. And we just want to help our leaders, any other leaders that are listening, to be like, man, what do I do? How do I start with this person that I barely know? Kind of, right?
Yeah.
So, Nathan, what's the first way that we wrote down of how to start well?
Yeah, so when someone comes to me asking about starting discipleship, the first thing I would tell them is in the early stages, don't worry about changing their life.
We're doing quotes
Yeah,
if you're
air
not watching
quotes.
it. Yeah, that is so good because I think we have a unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to change their life this week.
We put so much pressure on ourselves thinking that like we have to have the answers to all our life's problems right away.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to help you get set free from this. I'm going to help you get past this. I'm going to solve this dysfunction or whatever. It's like, yo, you might get them to text you back this week.
Yeah.
And that's a win, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the very first thing. Don't expect fully you're going to change their life in the first week,
and
first month.
With that, I think it leads right into our second point.
Yeah.
Is that instead of trying to change their life, just focus on building a relationship with them.
Yes, come on. That's so good. Like, just hang out with them.
Yeah.
Jesus hung out.
Just spend time with them.
Jesus hung out with his disciples a lot,
Yeah.
right? Like, they didn't just go to the temple.
Yeah.
They-
And having that relationship, building that relationship early on by just spending time with them is what creates a strong foundation for months, weeks, a year down the line when they are going through something hard. You have that relationship
Yeah.
as that foundation.
Yeah. Now, I know that, and this leads to our third point actually really well. Like, sometimes it's hard to start or build that relationship because it's like we barely know each other. It's kind of uncomfortable,
Yeah.
a little awkward, or maybe a lot awkward.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the third thing of like how to start well is, and I'll just, I guess, say it like this, like embrace the awkward.
Yeah.
Like be okay with the awkward, I should say. Like obviously we don't always want it to be awkward, but we want to be okay with at first feeling a little awkward, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm one of the most awkward people ever. And I leave so many conversations like trying to shake off the awkwardness literally. And I'll leave so many conversations telling my wife, Marissa, like, was I awkward in that situation? Most of the time she does tell me like, no, you were fine. But sometimes she's like, yeah, you were awkward. Yep. But you got to just embrace it.
Again, thank you to your wife,
Yeah.
your girlfriend of the past, right? Or
She
whatever.
helps me out.
Your former girlfriend, now wife, she really helps you out a lot. But I just think like, I just want to kind of zone in on this point for a second. I think that so many times, not just the awkwardness, but also just the relationship factor, we disqualify ourselves because, oh, well, that was awkward. They must not be the right disciple.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that was awkward. I must not be a good discipler. Oh, that was awkward. I guess we're just not a good fit, right? Like we think these thoughts, but it's going to be awkward at first. And we just need to be okay with that and figure out ways to add and build the relationship and tear down those walls so that it's not awkward eventually. But at
Yeah.
first it's going to be awkward and that's okay. Like I just, whenever I've taken students out, like it can be a little awkward.
Yeah, working through that awkwardness helps build that relationship.
Yeah,
like
for
I feel
sure.
like when we first started hanging out, there was some level of awkwardness.
Yeah,
but
for
now
sure.
we're great friends.
Yeah.
because we worked through that awkwardness.
Yeah, and staying there like in the tension is so good, which our fourth kind of thing that we believe will help you start well, and it kind of helps with that awkwardness piece, is being intentional in the church setting.
Yeah.
So, Wednesday nights, if you serve, in youth or whatever, Sunday mornings, if you see your disciple, not just in youth, but if you're just discipling somebody, like use that church setting, that church hour to allow that awkwardness to come down.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And a lot of churches, like on Sunday, might have like a meet and greet time, a time in between worship and the sermon where they're saying,
Yeah.
hey, say hi to the people around you.
Yeah.
Wave,
every church has to do it.
Yeah, I know during COVID we might not have as much of that, but even then, like after the service, you
Yeah.
know, just on your way out of the building, simply swinging by the person that you are discipling and say, "Hey, how was your week? How's it
Yeah.
going? It's good to see you." And those
It's really
little
good.
moments that you do that week after week after week
Mm-hmm.
really build into a big moment of like we have a relationship now.
That's huge. And I think like a lot of times, I'm just going to, if it's okay, I'm going to jump down to like being present.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our points are kind of tied together in this, but like if we're just there, like I feel like students are waiting to see if you're going to approach them.
Yeah.
Students are waiting to see if you're going to say anything. And if you don't, they're not going to really say anything to you unless they're just like a a different type of student. So like we
Yeah.
have to take advantage of that. And I think we have to be willing to see those opportunities and jump on them if we're really going to build the relationship so that discipleship can prosper, like you're saying.
Yeah. So being present in that church situation. Also, I think there's other ways to be present, and we can get into those.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So there's definitely being present and being available just at any point in the day. So if a student texts you, if they call you, then just being available in that moment. Not that like you're on the clock 24/7, but just being willing to respond to them shows them that you are wanting to be involved in their life.
Yeah. So starting well, I think, starts with being present.
Yeah.
Being present when they text you, being present at the altar, which we're going to talk about in a second, being present at church, being present at their games, right? Or
Yeah.
at their choir concerts or whatever it is. Like showing up goes a long way because so many students have had people leave
Yeah.
or had people not stick around. So if we just flip that to showing up instead of leaving, to being present instead of being absent, it's already going to spark something in them. Like there's something different about this person. It is a little awkward. It is a little weird, but they're there.
Yeah, and I think those are important enough points that I will call being present, let's call that point 6.
Yeah.
And showing up, let's call that point 7, because I think those are important enough for them to be
That's
their
good.
own point.
Yeah, for sure.
So if the person you're discipling is involved in something, let's say they're involved in a sport or they perform in the band,
Yeah.
show up at those performances and help the person you're discipling recognize that you are involved in their life.
Yeah. And that you want to be.
Yeah.
Like you're not being made to go here or do that, but like students love it. It means so much to them. And they're going to begin to open up their heart for you to begin to have those moments that you're speaking to them. And I think we expect to have these like super, super deep moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, at least I've even thought that too. And I've even tried to force super deep moments, and then it just gets more awkward.
Yeah.
But like, and it kind of goes back to point 1. Like I said, all these are kind of tied together, but like, don't expect that hanging out, you automatically have to like have a super deep moment.
Yeah.
Like laugh with them, hang out with them.
There's value
Just be
in
with them.
just existing in their space.
Yeah.
And a part of existing in their space, let's call this point 8, is being willing to be friendly with their friends. I
Yeah.
think there's a ton of value in getting to know the people that they're friends with.
That's good.
Because then they're going to be talking about those people. They're going to be talking to those people. Those people are influences on their life.
Yep.
And when you're talking to that person and they say, oh, Sally and Susie did this week, then you actually know who they're talking about.
Yeah. And know them and know what kind of influences they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a voice in that student's lives. Like, you need to know the other voices in your students, or I don't want to make this just students, but like if you're discipling whoever,
Yeah.
like who are the other voices?
Who are their coworkers?
Yeah, who
right?
are they, right? Like, it's important to know those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that getting in their life, like you said, allows those things to be known.
Yeah. And similarly, know who their family members are.
Yeah.
Listen to what they say about their family members. What do they say about their parents? What do they say about their brothers or sisters or their kids? Because that shows you
That's
a lot
good.
about how that family dynamic is. And discipling someone and helping them grow in Christ is not just like a situation in a vacuum, right?
Yeah,
It's all in the context of their relationships, especially with their family.
And relationships have so much power in families, or in people, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, which that's how God designed us for relationship. So we need to know those important relationships, those friends, the family, the teammates, the classmates, whatever. Because if we're trying to disciple them, if we're trying to push them forward, if we're trying to help them, well, we need to know the important relationships that are in their life. And we need to begin to get, as much as we can, kind of intermingled into that.
Yeah.
Because we need to be a trusted voice, but we also need to be just a person that, like, yeah, like, I don't know, like in their life. Like that, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
As much as you can, if you have opportunity to meet and talk to their family members, you got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, sorry, we're saying a lot about it, but like, I mean, I'm sure Jesus knew the families of his disciples.
Yeah.
I mean, he went in and he healed Peter's mother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
Like went into Peter's home. Like, you know, it was not Jesus and his disciples and then all their families. I believe that they were all kind of interlocked, intermingled together.
Yeah. So like even as simply as I got back from last summer camp, and I had formed a relationship with a couple students. And so when their mom came to pick them up, I made a point to walk over to the car and say, hey, what's your name? Like, really loved having these students at camp with us. It was great. They're awesome students. Just making that little connection, because it builds off of that.
Yeah. And I want to say this, and then we'll go to our last point.
Okay.
I'm going to give just a shout out to one of our leaders. Her name's Maggie, and she's been just pouring into a student for a while now. And she has built relationship with not only her friends, but her parents. And now here's the really cool part. If Maggie is there, her parents let her go. So if it's camp, if it's church, if it's an event, if it's whatever, if they're like, okay, Maggie's there, guess what? You can go.
Because they trust her.
Yes. So anyway, that gives you advantage. It gives you all of these things. So
actually, before we go to our last point, I'm going to sneak one in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sneak one in here. During services, during sermons, during worship nights, pay attention to their responses.
Yeah.
Okay? So pay attention to what are the messages that they stand up for and respond to an altar call. Pay attention to how closely they're paying attention to a certain sermon. Are they on their phone or are they locked in?
Yeah.
Because that tells you so much about what God is doing in their heart.
Yes. Yeah, I think students don't necessarily know how to communicate or articulate those things all the time, right? It's like, hey, what did God do in your life? Nothing.
Yeah.
You know? But if we can, like you said, pay attention to those cues, even if they don't tell us with their mouths, but it's like we're paying attention to how they're responding. We're paying attention to what they're listening to. We're paying attention to what they're not listening to. Then we can begin to figure out what God is doing in them and what they're responding to, which helps us disciple them and speak into that.
It tells you so much about a person. If they're the first person to stand up during an altar call,
come on,
that message must have been huge for them.
Yeah, for sure. Last one. This is a really, really big one. Okay, it's this. Don't get discouraged. I know that sounds kind of vague and maybe sounds like, okay, like, duh. But like, seriously, it's going to be awkward. Don't get discouraged. It's going to be slow at first. Don't get discouraged. You're not going to change their whole lives in a week. Don't get discouraged, right? Like they might not open up to you right away. Don't get discouraged.
That's huge.
A note that like just we have in our notes is like, don't despise the day of small beginnings. Mm-hmm. Like you're kind of moving this rock, but eventually it's going to tip over and it's going to go down the mountain and momentum's going to come.
Yeah, because it's going to be slow. We can guarantee that. Mm-hmm. But over time, you are going to have an impact.
Yeah. So let's recap really quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, recap. The very first one we said in the early stages, don't worry about changing their life immediately.
Yep.
Which sends us to number 2.
Focus on just building a relationship with them and spending time with them.
Number 3, okay, if you don't have a habit of hanging out with them, it might be awkward. Be okay with it being awkward at first. Yeah. Be okay with the awkward. You can just remember
next
that.
one, be intentional during the church setting.
Yes. And then this kind of all wraps together, but I'll just say what you already said. Pay attention to their responses and sermons, messages, all of those things.
Yeah. The next one was being present and showing up goes a long way.
Being present. Be present, show up, be willing, and I'll kind of combine these two, to know their friends and know their families.
Yep. And the very last one, don't get discouraged.
Okay?
Love
we
it.
are all in this together. Man, thank you so much for listening. But before we end, we have a kind of a fun segment.
Yep. New segment.
Ding, 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 ding. Hopefully we have a sound effect but we have a segment. We are calling it This or That. It's between me and Nathan. I have made up 3 this or that situations or questions for Nathan that he's going to have to decide between. He's made 3 up for me.
Never seen these before.
Yeah, we've never seen these before. We don't even know how this segment's going to go, but I hope that you are still listening and watching because it's going to be awesome.
All right, I got the first one.
Okay, started off well.
All right. Here's your situation.
Okay.
Would you rather drive 7 hours to summer camp with a bus filled with junior high boys?
Oh, that's a good one.
Or you're the only leader at a junior high boys all-nighter?
Oh, drive the 7 hours
Oh, okay.
all day. Only leader
Why?
at an overnight junior high boys thing?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I canceled our all-nighters and I was
Oh,
not
gosh.
the only leader. That's a good one.
All right. You got to
Okay.
give me one.
All right, here's one. Would you rather have the task,
Okay.
of converting someone from Arminianism to Calvinism or Calvinism to Arminianism?
Ooh. That is so... I see. That's actually hard because I love that conversation.
Yeah. Right.
I'm gonna say I would rather convert someone from Arminianism to Calvinism.
To Calvinism.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Okay. Why?
Okay.
Because it's
Only-
easier? Because it would be easier
I'm gonna be
to
honest.
do.
Some of you guys might take offense to this. I hope you don't. But throughout the years, the past like maybe 10 years, experiences that I've had with Calvinists sometimes are a little bit touchy.
Intense.
Intense. Yeah. People who are Arminianists typically are a little bit more like nice. That sounds so bad, but I'm sorry.
We love everybody though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're Calvinist,
Oh,
we love you. If
I
we-
love my
yeah.
Calvinist friends, dude.
We
They
love
got-
Arminius, all of it. If you don't know, if you're listening to this podcast, you don't know what Arminianism is or Calvinism is, look it up, study
Here's-
it. It's actually a really fun topic.
Here's what it is. Lots of Calvinists have a very high view of Scripture, and so sometimes it's difficult to discuss Scripture because they have such a high view of it.
Yeah. Okay. Next
All right,
one for
next
me.
one,
Next
next
one for
one.
me. I
Okay.
hope you're enjoying this segment because we thoroughly are.
All right. You
This is more
so
for us than
would you
them.
would you rather you have to announce the Easter service on Sunday service, like the upcoming Easter service? You have to do it wearing a chicken outfit.
Okay.
Or all the other pastors got sick on Sunday morning and you find out during the worship set, during service, that you have to preach.
Oh, I would rather find out worship set that I'm preaching and have to preach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Nothing
You-
to lose.
you got
at that
some
point.
sermons in your back
I got
pocket?
some sermons. I'll pull one from the archive, and at that point, like if you do bad, there's nothing to lose.
Yep.
You know, you're like,
You could at least say, hey, I just found out right now I got to preach.
yeah, for sure.
okay.
Okay, here's one for you. It's a little bit away from ministry, but still kind of. Would you rather? And I hope you know who these two people are. Would you rather have to preach?
Okay.
You have to preach. You have to do the yelling and all that, like Stephen Furtick.
Oh, okay.
Or dress like Michael Todd.
It's the problem. I don't know what Michael Todd looks like.
Can we get a picture of Michael Todd, please, for this? Okay, I got to find one. We got to put it up on the YouTube page really quick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find anything crazy.
That would actually be kind of fun to like have a segment where you have to preach like during service. Have a segment where you got to preach like a bunch of different people.
I mean, this isn't really
and
like.
it like flashes up at different times, and you got to like change your preaching style. That'd be crazy.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Kind
okay.
of like lip sync, like singing here. I mean, he kind of dresses like that, I guess. I mean, it's really not. I mean,
Oh, I would dress like him for sure. He looks like a baller.
it's not even like this is he dresses some crazy stuff. This isn't one of his crazy things.
He looks like a baller in that picture.
all right,
That's
so
all I'm
you're
saying.
picking Mike Todd.
Yep.
All right,
Okay.
what's my third one?
Next one. Okay. During a co-ed small group Bible study, one of your students starts confessing they have a problem lusting after some of the other girls in the room.
Wait, what?
One of the guy
Okay,
students
okay,
in this
okay,
Bible
yeah.
study is like, hey guys, I need to confess something. And he
Oh,
just
and
goes.
those girls are in there.
They're in the
And
room.
they're like, I'm listening. Oh,
Yup. Okay. Or you are about to leave on a week-long mission trip with a group of 10 students. So it's kind of small, 10 students. 2 of them just break up right before you leave.
That's a good one. That is way better than mine. My last one. That is a good one. Okay, so
These are both real-life
yeah,
situations that I've been in. So
you serious?
I might have been one of the students in this.
So boy says out loud, "I'm lusting over these people that are in
that
the same
that
group."
wasn't me,
Okay,
but
okay.
I've been the
And
leader
then
in that situation.
The other one
Yeah.
is 2 people just broke up on a missions trip.
Yep.
I'd rather be on the missions trip.
Okay.
That I do not want to be in the small group. You've been in that situation. We're having a podcast just
Oh,
on
gosh.
that soon. Here's the last one. You have to counsel someone through a hair-eating addiction. What? Yeah. Or teach super deep theological doctrine to newborn babies.
Oh, I would love to teach the deep theological doctrine to the newborn babies.
While they're crying.
We're gonna talk about the Trinity
And being born again.
And being born again, even though they just got born.
There you go. All right, man. Hey, I hope that y'all enjoyed our podcast today, whether you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, what is the other one? Stitcher.
Stitcher, yeah.
Yeah. Apple podcast, anything like that. If you are enjoying the content, please make sure that you like it, that you subscribe to it, hit that bell on YouTube so that you get notifications. We are the Disciple Me Now podcast. We cannot wait to see you next Sunday at 1 p.m. when we drop a new one.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you later.